Yeah, and I think that's important. That's important, even if you think you may not have lost weight. I've always been an advocate of it doesn't matter. The important thing is to come down, weigh in, and be part of it.
Welcome back to the Lose to Win podcast with myself, Josh, Jack, and Ben. How are you doing, lads? No guest this week.
Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen.
How have you been?
Okay? Back to the trio, yeah. Oh, all good. All good, yeah.
Yeah. Being good. Good
bad.
weeks, lads, then, so far? Good second week of the team, getting on a roll. Anyone up for a hat-trick this week?
Yes.
I am not, no, because I missed last week because it was my
the week
wedding anniversary. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah.
This week is proven to, it always happens. I have a week off and then it becomes difficult. Yeah. I get myself into a spiral quite quickly. I think this is probably a story old as time of me saying I kind of get into that spiral of gone, that wasn't great, and then it just compounds. We had the weekend, so obviously went up to London to watch Bournemouth against Arsenal on Saturday. So we did eat out then. We had a nice stone-baked pizza for lunch, and then not so great the day after. I spent the day at Chapelgate at my daughter's football tournament, and then bank holiday, and then away out on Friday as well for food. So yeah, it has spiraled a little bit, but I'm working on getting it back under control. I'm not sure how well it will be tomorrow. I've tried to avoid the scales, but we can only move forward from here. It's a long.
Still got to live, Jack. That's what we always say, right?
Yeah, and absolutely, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and very much at the beginning of this season, and that's how I'm going to see it. I'm going to do it in season chunks. You can't win it till
the end of the third season, anyway.
Not allowed to, yeah. It's not
when you start to hit your.
That's the rules, yeah.
Hit your rhythm,
hit my peak.
But bank holiday was a bit of a catch out, though, wasn't it? Because I'd completely almost forgotten that it was a bank holiday, and then all of a sudden you had an extra day off, and it was like, I can have an extra couple of beers, and it's like, oh, hang on a minute.
It feels like every weekend's been a short weekend recently as well, because I think Easter only felt like literally a couple of weeks back, and then
it was only a couple of weeks back. It's
there you go.
And we've got another bank holiday in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, it's like 4 bank holidays in about 6 weeks, 7 weeks around this time.
Probably too condensed, aren't they? You want them more spread out.
You get one at the end of May and have to wait to the end of August. What's going on?
Yeah. Rubbish. Yeah. What about you, Josh? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I've been on a roll to start the season. Been good. Another 0.6 off last week from the 1.7 I lost for the 2 weeks previously to start the season. So going well. I've got to get into some trousers, mate. I've got to get into some suit my suit for my wedding.
Are you wearing a suit?
Suit? Are you going to wear the same suit?
No, I have. You know the one I wore at the awards last year.
Yeah.
It's about the lowest I wore, and I quite like that. So. Rather than buy a new suit for my sister's wedding, I'd rather just get back in it if I can.
Fair.
Sorry, I thought you meant suit for the awards again. I was like, I'm going jeans and
birthday suit, mate. Birthday suit for the awards, mate.
Suit for the awards, yeah. Cock out,
No suit for the awards. Although I could go for the Jeremy Clarkson, as we said.
Yeah.
Jeans, jacket, and shirt. But So that's kind of a weird incentive for me. Is to get in, to be able to fit into a suit, so I don't have to buy a new one before a wedding in a few weeks' time. The 14th of June.
Okay.
So I've got about 5 weeks.
Oh, mate, you can smash it in that time.
Yeah. So I know I won't reach the number I need to be in what I weighed when we went to the awards last year.
Yeah.
But if I'm within a certain distance, I should be able to get into my suit. With a lack, won't be quite as comfortable, but that'll
be your penance. If you don't get into it, it's going to be uncomfortable all day.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So looking forward to that. It's a
mate.
Small drive. Yeah, it's a small drive. I won't be there that weekend, of course. So
fair enough.
Yeah. No, I'm going to miss next week. Yeah, next week's my anniversary next week. So I won't be there then, sadly.
And then we've got tournament weekends as well, so that's
the last weekend of this season.
Oh shit,
that's 20 something of July, isn't it? 20...
Wow.
So that's going to
be pivotal.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, well, I didn't. No, it's not. It's not the last week, and I'm sure it's not the last week actually. Because I was having a look at this for whose teams what.
I thought we worked it out, and it was the last week. The 20.
God,
what is it? The 20. I want to say the 23rd.
Makes a great podcast, and this does.
Yeah, well, let's leave it. Let's come back to it another day. Let's come back to it another day. Maybe we can look at it later. But maybe we should probably just jump straight into the roundup, lads, and let's
do it. Yeah,
because it was a very good week for the league, week 2, getting into it. So, what is 1.4 kilos? It's the weight of a large loaf of bread, a medium-sized pineapple. Don't know how we've worked this out, or the average human liver. Still don't know how we work that out.
Steve's going around the house weighing things. He's got a liver knocking around. He's got a couple of pineapples, normally upside down pineapples, out the front door in it for Steve.
Yeah, hanging off the door handle.
There'll be questions about how he has a human liver lying around. It's also the margin by which we missed an achievement for the ages this week. As a club, we lost a massive 44.6 kilos. That's just 1.4 kilos away from losing the weight of an entire Kylie Minogue in a single week, our usual measuring stick. We could claim to have lost an entire Kylie if her liver were to be surgically removed, of course, but we couldn't do that to the club's muse and inspiration. So
maybe
we'll just
that's
have to
how
go
he's
again.
got the liver. He's got Kylie's
liver.
We haven't seen her around for a while, so she might have her in his basement somewhere.
Yeah. We'll just have to go again
every week,
by the way, and try to lose her liver along with the rest of her another time. Anyway, sorry, I did gloss over that a little bit.
No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny.
It was. I was just trying to keep momentum.
Yeah,
sorry, mate.
Very professional.
Nevertheless, it's a phenomenal performance from the entire club. 77 men turned up to weigh in. Great commitment, by the way. That's pretty close to full attendance.
Yeah, very good.
And 59 of us achieved a positive result. More details to follow, but let's have the match scores then. So another draw was on the cards this week. 2 in 2 weeks. 3 in 2 weeks, I should say. The Reds drew 8-all with the Oranges.
Yeah, second for us.
Yeah, the Whites won 12-8 against the Purples. The Blues won 5-3 against the Greens, and the Blacks won 8-6 against the Yellows.
Boo.
What do you mean, boo? Why was I the only team related to who got a boo?
Well, because you beat my team.
Yeah,
Your team beat my team. Jack's team drew, so I can't boo that.
To be fair, I am forgetting who's on what team.
Exactly.
So
I have to keep checking so many times.
Anyway, the only two 100% main league records from last week, Greens and Blues, played out a low-scoring game, as we mentioned, which resulted in a draw on the pitch and a narrow overall win for the Blues. Elsewhere, the Blacks edged out the Yellows, boo, despite losing on the scales.
You can't boo yourself.
Yeah, well, I just thought I'd fit in, While the Whites and the Reds both relied on timely milestones to spare them from defeat. It's a measure of how close the new teams are that in only 2 weeks, everybody has at least a point in the main league, right. And there's only one team with a perfect start.
That's Steve blowing his own trumpet.
Well, I don't know. I should probably say it's partly me. No, maybe. I think they worked out well, though, so that's good.
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of weight loss, it's hard to single out any one team. Whites lost the most last week with 9.2 kilos.
Wow.
But 6 out of the 8 teams lost around 5 kilos or more. So
great.
Oranges had the most individual losing weight, 9 out of 10 who weighed in. Well done, mate.
Very good, mate.
But Purples, Whites and Yellows all had 8 out of 10, while Reds had 7 out of 9 and Blues 6 out of 8. No hat-tricks again this week, as it was only week 2, as no one can lose weight for 3 weeks in just 2 weeks of the season, but next week, or this week coming, has the potential for a deluge of extra goals.
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 milestones, all in impressively advanced territory. So Liam Dancer, Martin Boone and Paul Harding all joined the 15% club.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well done, boys.
Which must be on a recruitment drive, because in each case, the 3-goal bonus had a decisive impact on the team's result. Liam turned defeat into an 8-all draw for the Reds, while the 6-goal swing that Martin and Paul gave the Whites helped them overturn a 4-0 pitch defeat against the Purples to make it a 12-8 victory.
Brilliant. Yeah, really good, lads.
Well done, guys. Paul
has now lost 13.9 kilos since joining the club. Liam 16.9 kilos, and Martin a massive 21.3 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah. Very, very impressive. Between the three of them, they've lost a full Kylie with 6 kilos to spare. So more seriously, 15% is one of the milestones where progress starts to get that little bit harder won.
Yep.
So it's a fabulous achievement for all three.
Yeah, well done, guys. Yeah. Really good.
17 players went out of last man standing, leaving 71 still battling for glory. There's a long way to go before the last 30 can claim a bonus goal, but don't forget, anyone who has lost weight in both weeks 1 and 2 can score in week 4 if they keep their perfect run going.
Nice.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Loads of goals.
Team of the week is again hard to get into, with all 7 of our leading losers breaking the 2 kilo barrier. New boy Luke Humphreys of the Oranges leads the way with an impressive 3.2 kilos.
Well done, Lukey.
Yeah. Another newcomer, Liam Churchward of the Mighty Blacks, also features with 2.3 kilos. Well done, Liam.
Well done.
While Liam Dancer and Team of the Week regular Josh Buxton are the only players to retain their places from last week's top team. So here's the full list then. We had Luke Humphreys, as we mentioned, with 3.2 kilos. Ollie Shearing lost 2.8 kilos.
Well done, Ollie.
Martin Boone lost 2.6 kilos. Liam Churchward lost 2.3 kilos. Jimmy Murphy lost 2.3 kilos.
Oh, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Well done, mate.
Liam Dancer lost 2 kilos, and as did Josh Buxton, who props up the table.
Well done.
Kept in the end. Good lad.
Football can be a game of fine margins, as we know. Sometimes the thickness of a goalpost can be the difference between victory and defeat, between joy and despair, between feeling like a Liverpool fan or feeling like a Leicester fan. Sorry, Kev. We're just 1.4 kilos away from the greatness this week, but it's still a colossal week and a massive step forwards for the club. 59 men losing weight is a phenomenal tally, but it's one we can improve on, I think. Potentially, whether it's team of the week amounts or 1 or 200 grams, it's all about keeping things moving in the right direction. So let's go again and keep winning our individual battles. We got this.
Great. That's really good.
Yeah, that's a really good week. Massive week.
Yeah, mega.
Yeah. Did he say whether that's a record week? I don't
think he said if it was definitively a record, but I would be very surprised if it wasn't there. Or
that's got to be up there, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a lot. We normally hit the sort of in a good week we're sort of around the 20-25 mark, aren't we?
Yeah, our average weeks are between 15 and 25. Yeah, I should say. So in that ballpark. So to hit double that's really good, massive, absolutely huge. And it's a credit to some of the new players that have joined the league and some of the old players who found maybe a little bit more momentum into a new season.
Yeah.
So, and also another great advocate for the rotation for the draft.
Yeah.
Why we do it.
Keeps people motivated. Yeah, definitely.
There is one thing though, lads, I wanted to discuss with you guys, and it surrounds injury, because we've all been there. Subject. We've had injuries before. I have had a stubborn refusal to kind of try and let every injury keep me down. So continue playing through one, and it made it worse. I'm sure we've all been there a little bit. But it actually came up because we've had a couple of people recently in the league who've obviously been struggling with little niggles here and there, taking some time off, people who maybe aren't taking some time off, they maybe should, things like that. And I just wanted to have a bit of a discussion about how we look after ourselves, because obviously we're not, and Jack, you always say this, isn't it? What's the term? I think it checks your body can't cash or something. Your head,
your head's right and checks your body can't cash. Yeah, and
there you go.
I know that feeling more than ever at the moment. My confidence following my injury, which was a pretty significant one, probably the worst I've had since breaking my ankle, or dislocating my ankle, breaking my leg. Yeah, it was doing my knee, and that is it's knocked my confidence massively on the football pitch. And we were talking before, and obviously I had the opportunity to be involved with the nationals once and chose not to, and then we've unfortunately lost Sam, which meant there was a spell come up and I could have taken that. And again, I just don't feel like I'm in the right place to do that at the moment. I'm trying to get some consistency and some confidence back playing football, and it is hard. It's really hard. And had a moment on Tuesday where innocuously just took a corner, and you both know me well enough that I'll run 100 yards to go and take a corner. I love a corner, and
I just run, mate.
Yeah, I just kicked it, and it just felt it hyperextend and kind of give me a bit of a sharp warning, which wasn't particularly nice at all. And it's hard. It is really, really hard, and you've got to manage the injuries. And I think there's a way of, as you've suggested, Josh, is you can be really stubborn and try and play through it and think that it'll be okay, or you take the time and give it what it needs. And I think there's different ways of being able to tell if that's what you need to do, and a lot of the time you do need to seek some professional advice with it as well.
I think for especially for us slightly overweight guys as well, the chances of injuries is much higher. Because you're obviously carrying a lot of weight, and you're not actually as fit as you maybe once were. And football is a difficult game because there's a lot of twisting and turning and changing of direction, and acceleration quickly and stopping quickly, which is not very good actually for your legs, in all fairness, especially playing on 3G pitches. They're not particularly kind, especially to knees and hips. They're not kind to. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it's important, if you do pick up a little niggle or you do injure yourself, is not to rush it back. Certainly through my experience, where you all know about my slightly dodgy calf muscles that have been spoken about before.
Yeah, baby cows.
Yeah, I struggle with those, and initially when I did it, I had to take the 6 weeks. I came back maybe a little bit early, and it's been sort of a little bit fragile ever since. I'm probably at the best they've been for a long time, but occasionally, now I'm playing more regularly on a Tuesday, I tend to end up having to sort of go and goal for the last 10 minutes because they start to just start to ache. And I'm a bit like you, Jack. I'm a little bit paranoid about it, so as soon as I feel a little twinge, I have to just stop, which is the way of managing it at the end of the day. And it's like I said to you before, your brain does have the instinct. If you have an injury, your brain will say to you, you should stop now. You should not do that. And so that is that kind of anxiety that comes out like that sometimes, where your brain says, don't do that because you're going to make it worse. But of course, it's easy to overrule that. A lot of people can overrule that. And it's like you were saying, off air, Josh, it's what's the consequences. It's the psychological consequence of picking up an injury that might then make you feel like you're not able to continue to exercise. And
it's a fear,
and
isn't it?
Yeah.
Ultimately, on some level, it's a fear that you've got to overcome. Is that, I mean, I've actually managed to do this. I've actually been quite successful. So one of my most successful periods is actually when I was on the sideline when I broke my toes. Back at the end of not this last rotation, the one before. It was one of my best seasons. And it's just but it was a struggle to begin with, to say I can't do this. And I even played 5 minutes when I really shouldn't have, when I was on the sideline once. And it's around that fear that I was just like, I'm going to go backwards. I'm injured. I can't do the exercise. And I think that's where some people start, is I can't do the exercise anymore. How am I going to lose the weight? Well, as we've said before, it's not about how much exercise you do per se. It's about your diet. It's a combination of both. Don't get me wrong. It is a combination of both. And I know people will say, "Oh, I feel you being out for 2 weeks in terms of fitness," but in terms of how much physical strain you do, it's not about that to lose weight per se. And I think I just had to get into that mindset where it isn't all over. I can still keep losing weight. I just have to be a little bit more vigilant. Just in one specific area rather than both. So
it's kind of a double-edged sword though, isn't it? Because it's great if you can take that approach, but then you've got the kind of depression side of it that you can't exercise, and that might actually turn you to eating a bit more, or eating the wrong things, or drinking the wrong things, because you can't exercise. So you kind of throw yourself off a cliff, metaphorically. So psychologically it's difficult, isn't it?
It's an anxiety, isn't it? We've had a couple in the league who've expressed this in various manners, but I guess on some levels it's about trying to be honest with yourself, isn't it? Being honest, how much do you legitimately, if you do get injured, how much could you actually do, and is it really going to affect your momentum? You don't have to let it affect your momentum, do you?
No, of course you don't. No, of course you don't.
But as you say, there are times when some people will struggle very deeply about it, and obviously there's a fear of very many things, as I was saying, not just the going backwards, it's the stopping of momentum you've already gained. It's then some people just love football so much they can't just see themselves not playing, they can't not scratch that itch. That's what I was about to
say. There's an addictive nature to exercising as well, isn't there? There's the endorphins that you get off the back of it, and I don't enjoy a great deal of other exercise other than kind of competitive sport or playing sport, where I would never be somebody that would go for a run or anything like that. But the low impact stuff is always helpful. Huge part of my rehabilitation for my knee, and it still is swimming, getting that low impact stuff and getting the joints moving without the constant pounding through the joints and through the pain. That makes such a difference, and that's been really helpful for me. And you've got cycling as well. I know that may not be the best for all sort of muscular pains and bits and pieces, but if you get
it's better than running.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's something that you can do as relatively casually. I know for our sakes with children, Ben, is that going for a bike ride with the kids might feel like you're taking them out and kind of getting them used to it and whatever, but you're exercising at the same time too.
Yeah, totally.
So there's huge benefits, and there's other stuff that is low impact stuff that still can be done. And if you are, and we've definitely had a few of them within the group that get super stuck into it and almost kind of get that routine addiction to the routine and hate being out of the routine. There's so much stuff that you can still do away from hurting yourself on a 3G pitch on a Tuesday and a Thursday and a Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's even more important, in my opinion, if you do get in that situation, to lean into the community aspect even more.
Yeah.
I think, again, that's something that really helped me. And I know I'm meant to be there on the sideline all night anyway, but being part of that just was really helpful, because I came along to weigh in because I was there anyway.
Yeah.
And that was pushing me to keep going. And I knew, knowing that I couldn't help on the pitch, it was even more determined to help off the pitch.
Yeah.
And to keep that momentum. So I personally managed that okay, but that's not necessarily going to be the case with everyone. And I think it's just, I almost feel like this is a kind of a PSA really to the league, about trying to handle, because we've all had these injuries, we've all been there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone in the league has had something. It's just about how.
Well, we've got a few actually on the new yellows. We've got Kev, who's decided he needs to take a few weeks out because he's got an ongoing injury that just hasn't healed properly, and he keeps making it worse. Tom Davies done his calf, and he did that before even the start of the season. So he's going to be. He's just been to the doctor, and he's going to be out for another 3 or 4 weeks. Sam, our keeper's done his back, so he's not particularly mobile, and he's nursing that back. So there's a few of us that are carrying a few knocks and niggles, and that's part of the course, of course. But it's how you manage that is what we're kind of talking about, isn't it? And how best to manage not just the injury, but your kind of mental struggle with not being able to play the game, along with having to try and keep the weight loss going. It's difficult.
Try and keep that motivation, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's what I was saying about the community, and then the team chats will come into thing, because I'm sure all of us here, and I'm sure every team will have someone in their team who is struggling for various reasons, but likely injury related. I can't make it this week because I'm injured, etc.
Yeah.
It's that. What can you do to say, well, come along and weigh in if you've got time? You only have to be in and out in 15 minutes. You don't have to be there too long. Keep that momentum, essentially. Keep that attendance record,
definitely.
so that you can that's just one aspect of it, of course. But also then when people come and weigh in, you have the hello. You say hello to a load of people that, generally speaking, you get along with pretty well, and then you start chatting, and also then it can be cathartic because you might, let's be honest, you might be talking about the fact that you are injured and what your injury is, and to various people, and then they can give you, even if they're not really giving you advice, they're just there to listen. And then there's an element of, so all those things in my mind is the kind of thing I would think engaging in is important if you are injured and you can't,
definitely
can't keep it, to try and keep the momentum going, to try and keep things on the right track, especially mentally.
Well said, definitely.
So that's just my experience. I don't know, people.
Yeah, and I think that's important. Even if you think you may not have lost weight, because I've always been an advocate of it doesn't matter if you haven't lost weight. The important thing is to come down and weigh in and be part of it and get yourself, be still involved with the team. The team, everyone has ups and downs, and everyone has things that can affect them from a week to week basis. So don't alienate yourself even if you think you're not going to particularly add something to the team, or you might score an own goal. It's still important to be involved with the team aspect of it. Certainly from my point of view, historically, I've always encouraged it. I'd much rather have a person there and being involved than staying out because they fear they might have scored an own goal or whatever.
The other thing as well is it makes the week after that little bit easier.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Because you don't carry it over.
Yeah, you're not sat on that original weight from the week before. Your weight then is if you're up, is your new up weight. Yeah. And as long as you're down from that, even if you're still above your start weight, as long as you're down from that, it's not an own goal.
Exactly.
And so that's enough to just go and say, there's your reset button. This is your new weight. Start from there and go again. I definitely could be on the other side of that tomorrow, but I'm gonna do exactly that and use it as a reset and go from there.
It's important.
So I thought, actually, I didn't really consider that on some level. It's that, because then that's renewed motivation. It's almost like, even if it's baby steps, you've had a bad week, and then the next week you feel like you're starting again. If your weight is high, the baby steps help you get into that I've lost weight frame of mind.
Yeah. Do you know what? It can be difficult though, because there is the pressure, obviously, of the last man standing and hitting your hat tricks, and
of course,
there's those pressures that people don't want to feel like they're letting their team down. And I think it's important to understand, while we are playing a team game, etc., everyone is on their own individual journey, and it's how you manage that for yourself. Don't beat yourself up because you might have put a couple of 100 grams on this week instead of last week. You have to look at the overall picture. Of course, people want to stay in last man standing. Of course, people want to contribute for their teams. That's the whole that's part of it. But at the same time, it is not the be all and end all. There'll be another opportunity down the line. You've got to think about yourself as well.
Yeah, good shout.
Absolutely. Oh,
nice.
Chat, lads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff. I appreciate you taking time to talk about it. It's something I just know that comes up quite often, and it's not. We have mentioned it before on a pod, but I just know also in the league at the moment there are a few people I can think of, quite a few people I can think of, especially as you reel them off in your own team, Ben.
Yeah.
That have
well, Scott and Jesus, unfortunately, they've dropped out of the Thursday night game because they're not feeling so good, and I was hoping they would be playing tonight because hopefully then they'll be injured for tomorrow.
They're just getting ready to kick you tomorrow.
I don't mean that. I don't mean that, by the way.
We can't get rid of, isn't it? It's just like we talk about injuries and how I'm dealing with it, and then here's Ben saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter if you're injured, as long as you're not playing. As long as if you're playing us."
Yeah.
Go and have a good run out there, lads. Jest, right. Of course.
Yeah. What do we want to talk about then, lads? Do we want to talk about some football then briefly? Some recent events.
With some subjects. Go on.
Well, so Liverpool won the title in the Premier League. We can talk Premier League briefly.
Yeah.
Congratulations to them.
That was always going to happen. It was a case of when, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then obviously we're on the beach a little bit against Chelsea the weekend, which is always good fun.
Yeah, which is a shame, actually, I thought.
I'm sure you're not looking forward to the Guard of Honour you have to do, Jack, for the Arsenal game.
No, definitely not at Anfield as well. But It's all right. They've done it for us before, so we'll repay the favour.
So yeah, I mean, it was kind of inevitable. But the bigger news around Liverpool was Trent Alexander-Arnold, who put out a thing saying he was leaving, which I think we kind of knew was coming from the last few months. Yeah. We even discussed on this pod. We were quite surprised that Van Dijk and Salah had signed, so it wasn't a surprise in my mind that Trent was leaving. But for some weird reason, if you are privy to social media stuff, Liverpool fans have been taking it. Some have been taking it quite hard.
I'd say on the whole, it's been pretty badly taken, and I think it's something like we said, it's something that we felt we kind of expected anyway. But now it's been officially confirmed. There's been quite an uproar. I even saw that his is it? I'm terrible with pronouncing this word. Is mural? Is that right? His mural.
Yeah.
His is going to be painted over, and something else is going to go in its place.
They're very fickle, the Scousers, aren't they?
Well, this has actually been chosen. I believe that's a decision that's been made by the person that owns the house because of the nature of how badly people seem to be taking it.
Okay,
they didn't want their house to be targeted every day.
That's fair enough.
Well, that's
which
fair then,
is always the flip side of having something cool like that on the side of your house. You then have to. The rough comes with the smooth, I guess.
Probably belongs to Robbie Fowler anyway.
yeah, most of them do. So it's been interesting. Josh, you've seen a few videos of young kids burning shirts, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen a few extreme stuff on obviously the cesspit, which is X or Twitter. Some of the serious end of stuff, and
funny
it's more
enough,
just
where
you
a
get
lot
an
of the
easy
Liverpool
sentiment.
fans belong.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right there. Shots fired. Get some shit from half the group.
That's where you find most of them anyway. Getting all their banter.
I just find it. I know that's not the place to look for your level-headed opinion. I know that's the extreme ends of things. But it was a surprising number.
It's not just there, mate.
Of people,
It's not
of people who are
before...
very vitriolic about it. It's very, and also the not the excuses, but the reasons as to why they're unhappy. It's kind of weird. It's kind of all over the place.
Well, they don't.
Some
really
people
know
are
that,
Some people are really unhappy because he's a Liverpool lad. Okay, and he's been there 20 years, and they've just won a league. Why would you go to Real Madrid, which is where we're potentially going? You know, Liverpool, one of the best clubs in the world. They're clearly the best. Liverpool, if you're a Liverpool fan, you're going to see Liverpool as one of the biggest, best clubs in the world, which is fair enough, I guess, to some point. So you're like, why would you leave? You're sideways. You're not making any real difference there. You've already just won a league. You know, we can win Champions Leagues, more leagues, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, why would you do that? You're a Liverpool lad. Some people see it as the fact that they haven't got any money for him and he hasn't given the option to get any money for him.
Yeah, that is that element.
There is that. That's probably one of the biggest ones I've seen. And then other parts of it's just like just a weird traitory thing. He's going to a rival, which is like, really? Okay, he's going to Real Madrid. Is that rival? Like, I don't know. But like, there's just been a weird thing about it.
Have you seen the AI image of him and Bellingham mocked
up? Of course I've seen that, and I was going to post it in the chat, but I thought, you know what, let's probably not do this.
Ben, have you seen it? I can describe it for you. So Bellingham as a male, as Bellingham, and then basically Trent's face on a woman's body, and them getting married.
Nice.
And those sorts of things have been, bride and groom's the best way of saying it. Yeah, absolutely. So there's been a lot of quite a bit of outcry and upset with Jude for allegedly luring him over. But
wasn't there banter last year about was it Hendo
them trying to do it
Bellingham,
to him,
or Trent trying to get him to Liverpool from Real?
So it's all right if it's that way, but go the other way, it's something else. But it is a funny one, and I don't. He is a fantastic footballer. Nobody that plays in the Premier League is a shit footballer, but what my point is that he is a fantastic footballer, and I think he'll have to do less defensive work, which has always been considered as his weakest part, and more opportunity to play those fabulous balls that he can play and create things that he can do. And it looks like Xabi Alonso might very well be the next Real Madrid manager as well. So it's kind of a match made in heaven with a player that was very, very good in that same position that he is desperate to play in. And obviously the Liverpool links there as well, and everything else. So I think it looks like that. I think it will work out well. There's been a few disasters, isn't there, that have gone to Madrid. Bale wasn't particularly anybody's favourite. I thought he did very well and obviously won everything he could, but by the end of it, he wasn't everybody's favourite, was he?
Himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was out of favour then.
Who remembers Jonathan Woodgate's debut for Real Madrid?
I don't remember his debut, but I remember him being there.
An own goal and sent off on his debut for Real Madrid.
Excellent. Who was the one? Was it McManaman that went?
McManaman went there as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did all right out there, didn't he?
Bex.
I just think. Right. Well, that's the thing. You're talking about like David Beckham leaving Man United, who were literally everything at the time. They were probably the biggest club in the world at the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, his childhood club. He'd been there. You know, class of '92 and everything. I was a very young lad, but I can't remember it being so. Okay, social media wasn't as big a thing, so I'll accept both of those things. Okay,
the team that he went to join though was bonkers.
But
they were basically every single top player in the world at that time
in every position,
played in that team. It was nuts.
But it's weird because I wouldn't say that's too massively different than Real Madrid at the moment. They've got some absolutely phenomenal footballers.
They're definitely not playing like it though, are they?
No, they aren't. That's fair enough. I think that's the Mbappe effect. But I will just, I think it's more just, good luck to the guy. Like seriously, the guy just wants a new challenge.
Yeah, I think that.
I mean, it's not like he's done it when he's like, you know, he's 20 years old. And it's not like he's done it when he's 35.
No. Yeah.
You know, he's doing it in a time of his career which makes sense for most people to move. That kind of time, and people can argue, oh, he just got greedy and it's all about the money, but
I'm not sure it is.
He's won everything he can. Like, he's literally
won
everything, as you say, he's won everything he can. There's not really, in my mind, any good reason to be really that distraught about it, other than maybe I can get that you would prefer to have made some money from it and you would prefer him to have stayed, but you kind of know it's been happening for a while. It's not like he's done FU to the fans deliberately per se. He's put out quite a nice message. He's not like, you know, I mean, it's just.
I bet you'll see that the majority will probably wish him all the best and send him on his way.
Will be how it is in the stadium towards him. That's the best gauge, isn't it? The proper fans that will be there, especially.
But that's what I'm saying. Quite a few of those are the ones that are making all the vitriol. You know, it's not.
We'll see.
Casual. It's not your casual scousers as such.
This is where we'll see, won't we? For sure.
It's like we've talked about before. You know, in the game nowadays it's very rare to get those players that stay with one club.
Oh, there's no such thing as loyalty.
The loyalty doesn't really exist anymore, and that's because, you know, like we've talked about before. You know, there's so many foreign players coming. There's so much more opportunity. There's a lot more money in the game. So, you know, it's no different from anyone else in any other career. You know, you want to go and have a bit of a change up. Not everyone stays in their job for 30, 40 years anymore. They change jobs. It's no different. You know, if you got offered a promotion at a different company, Jack, someone turns around and says, "Tell you what, mate, come and work for us. We're going to pay you double the money, and you get to sell bigger, posher cars,
and you get to live in the sunshine."
Yeah,
in Madrid.
So what do you reckon? You go, all right, mate.
There's an element of
where do I sign up?
There's also an element of he looks at people like Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane to some extent, and people like that going abroad to play. I mean, just like they're still in the England setup. They're still massive in the England setup. It's not like, you know. And maybe he feels it's a chance to get back in the England's eye. You know, I don't really know in terms of a starting position, or as you say, play a position he wants to play, prove he can do it, and then get in the England team doing that. I don't know. It's just
from like a different team supporter perspective. I would be disappointed if somebody like Saka went and did that, but I wouldn't. And it's my own opinion.
You wouldn't burn his shirt, would you?
I wouldn't burn his shirt, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't go along the lines of some of them, and this is why hopefully I think majority of football fans are relatively sensible. But as I say, the stadium reaction will be where you get your genuine, actual feel of how that will be. And I think there'll be some muted boos, but majority will be supportive. He's going on to bigger bigger and better things, in my opinion, at that club, and good luck to him.
I think also it's a tribalistic thing, isn't it? On some level, it's a loyalty. I mean, like, I was just reading the Athletic, the title of an article, so I'll just read it to you quickly. So it's a full kind of thing. It's from Simon Hughes. So as a child, Trent Alexander-Arnold waited outside Liverpool's old training ground and peered through gaps in the grey walls, trying to get a glimpse of his heroes. He was an ordinary scouser who went on to achieve extraordinary things, winning the Champions League at 21. Helping end a 30-year wait for the title, and destined surely to become a club captain. Instead, he is walking away. It is the end of a very modern kind of fairy tale of a local boy who dreamed of leading the club he grew up supporting, but who has now turned his back on them.
That's harsh.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the kind of shit you're getting even from just a publication in that part, you know.
Yeah.
Like and it's just the kind of thing. I know it's an opinion thing, but it's the kind of thing I see a lot of at the moment.
Yeah. They're very passionate up there, aren't they? The old scouts
are very
passionate. A bit like the Geordies. They're super passionate as well, and they take offence to everything.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit too much.
Watch this space, I guess.
I don't know if it was. I just completely on a bit of a tangent. I don't know if it's real or not, but I saw a load of stuff about when Liverpool won the Premier League and they set a load of flares up and they were blue. Is this real or was that bollocks?
Genuine? Yeah. So
is it
what
really?
happened is somebody.
It's the guy that did that. Actually, did he actually do that?
Yeah. So he brought a load of blue flares and red flares and switched the labels on them.
And then sold them
to the Scousers, and then so there's a great photo from distance looking over Anfield, and you can just see a plume of red smoke, and then just in front of it a big plume of blue smoke. I admire that's top level shithousery, isn't it? That's medal worthy. That's like MBE level shithousery.
Really fun. I thought it was a hoax. I didn't think it was real, but I'd say.
Oh yeah,
that is really funny.
He brought loads as well, I think, and what was brilliant is there's videos of people setting them off in the stands, and people are going, "Oh, what the fuck are you doing?" And then they all started to realise they got duped. It was
he must
a great
have been
idea.
Absolutely howling.
Yeah. It's almost Ben. You wouldn't. I don't know. You're not in the captain's chat, are you, Ben? So we shared all of our email addresses to be able to update a spreadsheet. Right. And I saw Craig's email address pop up, and I couldn't help, so signed him up to several Arsenal news articles and updates and stuff.
That was brilliant, man.
And what was the hardest thing about it was to sit quiet and just wait for the ticking time bomb to explode, and it delivered, because he popped up in the chat, didn't he, Josh? Like, which one of you pricks has signed me up to Arsenal newsletters? And I just, at that point, I was so happy with myself. And this is the level of shithousery I went to. I even went back in the chat when I did it to delete my email address so he couldn't then just get me back.
I love that.
So I obviously my brother-in-law is best friends with him, so I told him and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, I told them like a couple of days after I did it about it, and they were pissing themselves laughing. And I just sent them the screenshot of what he said, which I think it was along which one of you arseholes has signed me up to Arsenal newsletters. And I was very proud of myself.
Solid.
I don't know what more I could have done, but that was pretty good.
Excellent banter. So that's the whole. We could discuss Tribal forever, but good luck to him. I have to admit, I don't think he walks into that team. I don't think he does.
Not in front of Carvajal.
Carvajal, he won't get
Carvajal. That's it.
But I don't know.
But will they convert him? Will they try and, especially Alonso? Do you think he'll try and create him as that?
Maybe
almost playing a quarterback position, wouldn't he? Like an American football quarterback, where he can be in a position to spray passes and find people like Mbappe, because Mbappe is the type of player I say it about when I play with Louis. Makes a good pass and makes a shit pass look good because he's quick and he's got the intelligence to get onto the end of it. Somebody like Mbappe can do exactly that. Just drop it over the top of him and just let him run. It's just a match made in heaven, really. I think, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know very many people who can put a ball where he can put a ball. like Trent. Like there, David Beckham in his day,
pinpoint.
Maybe people like that. Yeah, Paul Scholes could have really.
Yeah,
but people like, I mean, that's what I was saying. I was watching because I'm a fan of the overlap. So I was watching Gary Neville discuss it. So Gary Neville was a shit crosser of the ball. He even said himself, he's like, I was a shit crosser. So they just told me to put it in a spot.
Yeah,
But like people like Trent and David Beckham and that are the kind of people who don't just put it on the spot. They put it on a person, on their head at a moving target from 25 yards away. They don't know that, they're like when they don't, like if you're putting a ball in behind, you need to guess where the player is going to be in 15 yards in front of them. So it's just things like that I find absolutely incredible. To dream to be able to do it, Ajax.
Yeah,
you're pretty handy with your left foot, but
it used to be, mate. I think I've lost the range. Definitely, I can't kick it half as far as I used to be able to. But yeah,
actually, it's funny because since I've started it, I've actually feel like I've brought that back. I used to not when I first started it. I don't think I could kick it the length of the pitch. Now I feel
I've
like
gone backwards, unfortunately.
But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, interesting discussion.
Yeah.
The other thing I did see is Arsene Wenger proposing this new offside rule. Now, actually, I really should preface this with saying I've only really done as much research as to that level. I don't actually know precisely what it is.
I do. I've got an idea.
Go on.
Okay, so maybe you can fill this in then, Jack.
So where a good example is that Mkhitaryan offside last week where it was literally his toe. So obviously we've got the automated offside, so he's literally off by the length of his big toe. The idea is if you think step it forward, it actually needs to have daylight between him and the defender. But what you have is there's still a definitive line that toe potentially could be the other way. It could be the defender's toe that's kept him on rather than his toe that kept him off, that put him offside, if that makes sense. Really. So I don't understand, and I'm sure somebody more intelligent than me can explain what the benefit is. What you are doing is you're giving the benefit to an attacker, so they've got half a yard, depending on how the shape of the other player's body is, where that stride of the knee is probably the furthest point forward, maybe while somebody's running. You've got all of those things to take into consideration. That is, I don't understand that is any different to what it is at the moment, other than giving the attacker a better chance.
Yeah, so are they basically saying that they're doing like what's the word? I can't really, like a margin of error. Is that essentially?
No. Sorry, no. No. It would still fit with the alignment of how it is at the moment. So it can be marginal, like I say, with that toe. It could be the defender's toe, it could be the attacker's toe that either keeps them onside or offside. It's just that the player is in front, and the automated offside would still remain.
Okay. So they're doing it from if any part of the player is in line with the defensive player. Not if they're in front of.
The attacker can be in front of them.
So you can be a full stride, like a Harry Maguire stride in front of a player, and as long as his heel is within
so
toe
hands,
distance of the.
It will still remain that the hands, only things that you can score with for a defender would still be counted. So obviously they cut off the arms when they're working out automated offside to like the shirt line and that sort of thing. It just feels like it's
just moving the goalpost, isn't it? It's not actually making any difference to the. That's why I was thinking if it was margin of error, that could make some difference. But the only thing I would say is, to me, that's a far more complicated way of doing it for a linesman.
Yeah, it is,
because they're now no longer just judging are you in a line. They're judging are you.
A little bit further.
Are you more
what they're meant to be looking for is daylight between.
Yeah, exactly.
Can they see daylight between? And that just doesn't work.
I still don't get how they do it from the exact moment that the ball is hit. Because I mean, how do they do that?
That's the argument, isn't it? Because they're doing it.
Well, there is a sensor in the ball as well. When the automated, there is a sensor in the ball. So a sensor is apparently tuned to be able to tell whether that ball's been at the point of that ball being kicked. But the frames per second do make things hard as well. And the Evan Nilsson's goal against Arsenal at the weekend was deemed that there wasn't enough evidence to prove that it hit his arm or not.
It really hit his arm.
Yeah, no, it looked like it did.
I mean,
clearly did. Yeah. You saw the change of direction of the ball.
But what's mental is you're in one of the newest stadiums in the league.
His arm. It's a bit like.
Yeah, you're in one of the newest stadiums in the league. one of the best stadiums in the league, with all of the cameras you can imagine, with every viewpoint you can imagine, they still can't do that. They're talking about one thing that was suggested as well, that I think Wenger or somebody in Wenger's kind of circle that's proposing changes, which I do get, is putting like super high definition cameras in the goalposts that have a 360 view, so they're able to capture especially silly fouls and goal line issues. So obviously goal line technology will remain, but the scrambles over goal line and who it's touched and where it's touched, because what they're having to do is do like a 10 times zoom in that then distorts the picture, Evan Nilsson's, where they can't work out if it's hit his elbow or not, where clearly it had. So there's that to consider as well, which does make sense. I think what the biggest problem I see with it is what I coach my kids team could not be any further away than what we're now watching on TV. It feels like it's a different sport. We've got grassroots football and then we've got professional football, and the gulf between the two is too vast. And there's things that you see kids do where they'll stop and they'll think that something's going to happen because they're watching it the way on TV. You're not suggesting they're going to go or somebody watch on a
VAR.
One of the parents calls the referee over to have a look at the camera that they've got going. But there's an element of that they don't. We all learn by watching what happens. Well, decision, play to referee's whistle. That's it. Get on with it. Well, no longer the decision isn't a decision. No, and it's a sad fact, unfortunately.
I mean, that's why I like watching Championship football. I don't watch it a lot, but
until they fuck that up as well.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, well,
I think they're introducing it next year. Actually.
Oh, I hope not.
God's sake.
I've got a feeling they have.
But they're all dreading it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's just a simple. Anything that's subjective, we shouldn't be having loads of heads talking about it. We should have one referee to do their job on the pitch.
Correct.
Anything like offside, where it's a clear black or white, is the ball over the line, or is things like that. That makes sense to have some sort of technology assistance. And to be honest, I have quite enjoyed these semi-automated offsides in the UEFA tournaments and out of FIFA tournaments when it's actually worked. Because it, generally speaking, for most 80% of the time, it works, and it works pretty quickly, and it's not a big deal. I understand it has problems in the box when you're doing free kicks and that's a big deal, and you can't distinguish 20 different bodies. But I just
but they're the ones you've got to give the benefit of the doubt. They're the ones where you go, well, we can't figure it out, so we give it with the on-field decision or whatever.
Yeah. So it's I mean, it's just more. I think we should be giving the subjectivity back to the official on the field and only the official on the field. VAR should never get involved unless basically. Well, I get there's benefits in there. We could talk about this forever, but there's clear benefits to VAR just as much as there are downsides. But I just think it's a bit of a glory thought, but going back to the days when the referees had full charge and they were a bit more respected because they had the ultimate say, and there wasn't a thing where you could just go up to the ref and say, VAR, mate, you made a mistake, mate, go and have a look at it, get someone in your ear, mate, get 15 other people to tell
they're
you
just
what's
terrified,
wrong.
aren't they? That's the thing.
And now they're not making any decisions. It's like if you make sure that they're the only ones who can make decisions, there's not going to be any change. It'll go back to what it was before. So
wow, interesting things going on in the lower leagues, by the way. Things like Wrexham getting promoted, 3 back-to-back promotions. Stockport County in the playoffs, in the League One playoffs. They have been in the doldrums for fucking decades.
They have been, absolutely.
What else? Luton getting back-to-back relegations.
That's mental.
Last game as well. Not last game.
It was in the last game. Well, they were kind of down anyway, but they had to.
Well, Hull won, didn't they?
Hull won, but they had to beat West Brom, and they were never going to. That was never going to happen. But
they had to better Hull's result, didn't they?
A League One team,
but any of the bottom
still getting parachute payments, Premier League parachute payments.
They will for I think it's 3 seasons you get them.
So they've still got another 2 seasons. So they could potentially be in the Premier League with in League One with parachute payments.
I mean, they should come back up really next season. You would hope, but
at least they're in a league.
Still got most of the players from the Premier League.
I've got a dream, lads. If only the Premier League just ceased to be officially under the banner of Premier League and encompassed all 4 professional leagues and then distributed the money evenly across all 4 leagues, 92 teams, and started fucking, instead of having basically a mini Super League, which is essentially what it is on at the moment, just with the addition of a relegation.
Well, that will only get worse, and the more American owners that come in, the more terrifying it is. It's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I've said this before. Maybe I'm biased, but like Bill Foley doesn't seem to be one of those who's particularly keen on that kind of thing. So he's an American owner who doesn't seem to want to go the American route yet. I'll freely admit that. But that's one. And what are there? 13 others. So and need 14 to make a.
Yeah.
So
good news on the Bournemouth stadium though, right? Looking to expand.
Yes.
Good news.
So they bought it.
Great news.
Great news. Yeah, I think that's a good way of doing it. I mean, everyone likes the lure of a potentially new stadium. Don't get
everybody loves Dean Court as well.
But exactly. You want to keep the heritage.
So much heritage and history, whether it be minor history, there's so much history there. One thing I will give the Bournemouth fans credit for, and we did. Ethan certainly enjoyed the laughs and fun with Ryan Neal and Jamie and Louis, who we went up with, is after they were giving it the beans. I think I put the video in the chat, giving it the Dino again, ole ole, and absolutely loving it and really going for it, which was cool. And I really like that he reposted not my video, obviously, but somebody else's video, and kind of he gets what it is. And Neil said to me as well, he just said, I wish the guy would stop kissing the badge or like hitting the badge when he scores and things like that. He said he's just going to break our hearts. But it's one of those things. He's a fantastic player and lucky to have him. Enjoying while they've got him, I think. Last couple of weeks of him.
Yeah. Anyway, we could dream, lads. We can dream. We can keep going and keep wishing for more.
Yeah.
More and more and more. But alas,
we've only a couple of weeks left of the Premier League season. I believe me and Josh spoke about this Tuesday night, Ben. I think we did a Premier League prediction at the beginning of the season. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of a review of that and see where our teams. Obviously,
you remember that? I can't remember.
I don't mind re-listening to dig it out to do it. I think it's worth having a bit of a giggle, and especially probably at mine and probably more Josh's expense. I think my team are probably closer to where I thought they were going to be than Josh's sat in 17th or 16th or wherever they are at the moment.
Yeah, but if they win Europa League, mate. If they win Europa League, that's 3 trophies in 3 seasons, and not many people can say that when they're considering them bent to be the worst team they've been in about 50 years.
I will caveat it now because Spurs have a good chance of winning it. It's the first time that the Champions League teams haven't dropped into it. That's why you've got Bodo Glimt in the semi-final.
No, I know.
And that's why we have
and
two 16th and 17th in the Premier League sat in the semi-finals of the Europa League. Well, it's basically the new conference. It's Conference League Point 2.
Well, that is a discussion to have. Let's be really honest. But I will say this though. Let's be frank. Like, if you were to classify who should get a spot in the Champions League for next season, let's forget about this season and who's won it versus where they are in the league.
Yeah.
Because Sevilla won it from like 6th or 7th, a couple of seasons ago in their league in the Liga. So it's more just, do you think the champions of the Europa League, winning a trophy, should grant them a place winners of the Europa League should grant them a place in the Champions League for next season versus a 5th place Premier League team?
Yeah,
considering the fact that England Premier League has too many spots already, in my opinion. So,
probably enough, this is something Wenger had a whinge about as well. This was part of that recent whinge of things. But I do actually agree that if you've won it, you should get into the competition above it. I think it does make a bit of a mockery, and I think it gives the likes of United and Spurs the chance to go, we won't focus on the league anyway.
I mean, there is that kind of bullshit. I mean, I was listening to Roy Keane earlier on over there. He's saying, I mean, it's one thing to claim that you're going for since when can teams not handle Wednesday, Sunday, Thursday, and focus on 2 competitions?
Yeah,
it's like, if you want to be a good team, you've got to be focused on literally like 3 or 4 competitions. If you're like Man City, you're in the FA Cup, the League Cup, the bloody Champions League, the Premier League. At some point you've got to say, oh, you can't just give up against Brentford or give up against Newcastle because we've got a big game against Lyon in 6 weeks' time.
Yeah,
it's like it's just things like that. I just
very quickly as well. What it does look like Spurs will get through because I think it's 0-0 at half time. But for the first time ever, the Premier League have actually moved a fixture to suit a team. Yeah. So Spurs made the request for the Aston Villa Spurs game to be moved to the Friday night, so they've got more preparation time for the final. And Villa and the Premier League agreed to it. It's the first time the Premier League have ever done it.
I find it quite funny though, because they requested to move it to the Thursday or something, so they got the Friday, so they got near as good enough. And Man United are playing the Friday, so there's 2 Friday night games because there's a potential of Man United Spurs final, which I find quite funny because one of them might not get there. I think it's unlikely one of them, they both won't get there, but
although you are losing,
who knows? Yeah, it's 1-0 Atletico. But it's just I just find it quite funny. So I didn't realise the game was like midweek, is it not?
Yeah.
Europa League.
They do the Europa Leagues
on the Thursday still.
Yeah, so. It's Tim Pot in it. That's why, mate.
yeah.
Oh dear.
Well, that old talk, Aston Villa fans about how often Emery won the bloody Europa League, and he wins trophy after trophy after trophy.
Yeah, he's a young manager though. Don't forget that.
20 years in the game, he's a young manager. Yeah. Anyway, we best keep it there, lads. I'm sorry for time.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, boys. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. It's been a pleasure again, and enjoy your football tomorrow. Enjoy your football tonight if you're playing, and let's have a good one.
Yeah, let's have a good one.
Cheerio.
Boys. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Peace.